My fellow colleague Maša, welcome to the second iteration of International Café podcast, a podcast that is a part of ME Study in English program, Erasmus program, coordinated by Faculty of Economics and launched by the University of Montenegro. Glad to have you back in Montenegro, in your home country, and glad to have you here.
Thank you, Dusan, for inviting me and for welcoming here.
So, me and you, we met up throughout our faculty on multiple occasions.
Yes.
I know you here and there, but I want you to give you to the stage spotlight to introduce yourself to the people first and foremost.
Okay, I will try to be short and just say some nice things maybe. I'm 22 years old and I'm recently graduate student. I graduate from bachelor here in University of Montenegro, Faculty of Economics, and from fall I will be student of Charles University in Prague, where I enroll master in finance. I have 2 Erasmus exchange in my background, and I would like to emphasize that as something that I'm very proud of.
So yeah, we're gonna base our conversation today around exactly those 2 programs that you were a part of, and I don't think that you mentioned it was both in Poland, right?
Yeah, I didn't mention
So
that.
where was the first student exchange program?
First one was in Warsaw. It was at Strona Główna Handlowa University, Warsaw School of Economics, and I did that during my second year in 4th semester. It was my first time to be out of country for a longer period of time, to study in English, to live in like multicultural environment. And the second one was also in Poland, but I changed the city. I went to Katowice, where I was in my 5th semester, and the faculty was University Ekonomiczny w Katowice. It would be like full Polish name, but economics faculty also. And both of them were sponsored by Erasmus Plus program, like the scholarship and everything.
Okay, so Warsaw was the first one, and let's focus firstly on your arrival there. So, like, were you feeling alienated, Englishman in New York type of mood when you first arrived, or was it different? Was it hard for you to adapt to their student life culture?
I wouldn't say it was hard. First I didn't have direct flights, so I had some connections and I had enough time to think about everything. And my first impression about Warsaw was like, wow, this is huge, this is big. I didn't expect that. Like, I read something about the city and university, but I didn't want to prepare myself. And the first station was dormitory. In the first day and the second day, I went through a lot of administration things about signing some contracts and everything. And when it comes to connecting with other people, I would say that I had luck, because I met some people that are from Balkan, but they were well connected with other people, other nations. And additional to that, Polish, they're not that much different comparing to us. So I would say in general, I adapt good, but I had some culture shock. It was part of exchange, of course.
Given that they're also Slavic people, I guess
exactly.
It wouldn't be as rough of a jump as like our previous guest was, like from Luxembourg to Montenegro.
Yeah, definitely. I would say that Polish, they have Slavic roots, but they are more likely to Germans. They like to be like them, to be strict, to earn good money, to focus on job and everything.
Okay, so we've talked about I've talked with my previous guest about how the student life was in Luxembourg and in Germany, where she studied, and how it was here. So give me the comparison with, like, how do students behave? Are they really hard focused on their studies in Warsaw, or is it more like a casual vibe, like here in Montenegro, let's say?
It's a pretty good question, because Warsaw School of Economics is one of the top ranked in the whole Poland. I think it's actually the first one when it comes to economics, like that area. So they require a lot of pressure, like they require a lot of things to be done, a lot of study, and there is huge pressure. If we talk about bachelor degree, if we talk about master degree, those students, they have less pressure and they're able also to work. When it comes to Polish, they're similar to us. Like they're giving a lot to faculty, they study, they go regular to all exams, finishing everything by the deadline. But I was between international and Polish students. And when we talk about international people who just came for Erasmus, they are not that much focused. They like to experience some culture things, going out, traveling through country and outside of the country. And I wouldn't say that study for them is that important, especially if they are not obligated to pass exams.
Okay, so how about you though? I'm more interested in about your experience.
Okay, I would say that I tried to find some balance. I was very successful in that because I managed to pass all exams there and here. Like I passed some exams that were accepted by this university in Poland. The rest was when I came back. And when it comes to other social activities, it was mainly coordinated by our, let's say, host faculty in the first week. And later I lived in dorms, so I was always surrounded by other people, hanging out with them, going somewhere, learning something about other cultures and other nations. But of course, the whole point of receiving that money, going there, is actually passing some exams and getting different academic knowledge and experience. So it was the main point. And then in the free time, I tried to experience as much as I could.
So are you satisfied with the amount of free time that you had?
Yeah, I would say yes. Because in Poland, they have more essay type of study. You have some essay and some projects. From some courses, I didn't even have final exam. Like I had some group work to do, or maybe to regularly send some essays. And here, as you know, you have written, oral part, and you need to combine that.
That's what I've wanted to touch upon also, the style of teaching and how professors guide their students. So like you mentioned, it's not the same as it's
Yeah, definitely,
here, right?
It's not the same. First of all, in Poland, you work in smaller groups. The group are 15 to 20 people. Here you have a group of 100 plus people. And I would say that in Poland, it's more, let's say, intimate because less people, less students, one teacher, it's easier to navigate. Also, they like to use electronics like technology. Everything needs to be sent in e-form. They don't like hard copies. I even had some exams online. I'm not a huge fan of that. I prefer to have exams in, let's say, traditional form, because then I believe that if something goes wrong, it's only my fault, not fault of technology or some situations. Also, they like those group work, sending essays, doing some activities, filming some, let's say, short movies. Here is more traditional, and I like that traditional when if we talk about some, let's say, quantitative courses, mathematical, like where you need to calculate something or go through some exercise. But I prefer Polish style if you talk about, for example, management or business, where like you can actually talk about your creativity and be innovative.
So compared to our way of teaching and our way of engaging with other students, you say that you, from what I can tell, you feel like we could utilize more of a collaborative effort in our when we are studying, like to engage with other students more regarding the topics that we are covering during the classes. Is that what you're trying to say?
Well, I'm not sure that is exactly what I want to say, because again, we talk about a huge number of like students that are attending one course at the same time. In Poland, you have that also huge number of students, but they're selected in different groups. For example, for course, I don't know, principles of economics, you have 4 to 6 groups of first year. I wouldn't say that we have that much time and maybe capacity to do that. And that's where I think that it's not easy to make people collaborate. Also, if we talk about first year students, they don't know each other and all of them needs to find their own way of studying. And as I mentioned, if we talk about some courses that are hard, that are mainly about some tasks, some numbers like analytic, I would prefer traditional way where professor explains something, you have a thing to do, you have some task to send by deadline. I would prefer that. I think that in that way you learn much more. If we talk about, for example, marketing, I prefer this part where we can engage students to connect more, to make some group work, some essays, because it's a place where you can show your creativity, where you can think about different things in different ways, maybe even contact with your colleagues and share opinions. But if we talk about science as science, I prefer traditional way. And I would like that Polish people can feel that.
Okay, the reason for my asking is just because I want to connect the story, continue with the story from previous podcasts that I had. So, like I've told you, we had a guest called Almeida. She is from Luxembourg and she came over to study in Nikšić. But she felt like the way that we handle things, like you say, in a traditional manner, quote marks, she didn't feel like it allowed her to get a grasp of the material in a proper manner. So I guess that's where like the cultures clashes regarding that. So how about professors? One thing that I've touched upon with her in previous podcast was how accessible they are, how students view professor. Is it like authoritarian figure, or it's just someone more of a guide rather than traditional professor with authority?
I would say it depends from person to person, especially if we talk about different nations. For example, for French students, I noticed that, maybe I'm wrong, that they see them more as colleagues than as tutor or teacher, that like should be, not that they don't respect them, but let's say they're more friendly. If we talk about teacher that I had in Poland, I would say that they were pretty similar to teacher that we have here. Not teacher, sorry, professor, to use adequate word. So professors were pretty similar to each other and their like way of showing us knowledge. And when it comes to their accessibility and like contacting them, it was mainly through mails or Slack or some Teams, other application. In fact, in Poland, I never went to consultations or visited professor at faculty, because they were like, send me email if you have some question, or we can discuss that during the class. So no practice like here, coming for certain hours and discussing with professor, asking some questions that you need for further studies or material.
Interesting that you mentioned Slack in particular. Yeah. I feel like we, like you said, we aren't utilizing technology as much as we here. Do you think that it's something that our university in general should work on, to utilize other means of communication via different applications or softwares that are available to students and universities?
Yep, I would say that I agree with you in that terms, especially Slack and Teams, especially if we want to attract more students that are coming here for Erasmus exchange or any other exchange. I think that they're adapted to that way of studying. And it will be one step shorter for them, like to adapt to our culture and our way of studying.
So you think it's more beneficial to foreign students that are potentially coming here?
I would say yes for that.
You think it's not a necessity for our students here?
Yeah, I wouldn't say that it's necessary for our students. Okay. Especially because we are finally out of COVID and all those measures, and we finally can go to university lives. So we actually have connection with our professors and our colleagues. I wouldn't say that we really need that, like it's necessary, but if we want to connect with other universities, especially with students that are coming here for exchange, I think it would be a nice thing to have.
Okay, so that was the Warsaw part, let's say.
Yeah.
Katowice is how long away from Warsaw? Like, I don't know, 40 minutes by a train or something like that?
It's actually 4 hours.
By a train?
Yeah, by train.
Okay, my bad. I haven't studied geography in a while, I guess.
It's okay.
So, how much does University in Warsaw differentiate from the one in Katowice?
It was totally opposite. First of all, I need to say why I again choose Poland. For me, it was maybe the easiest thing, because I was actually used to their culture, to their way of showing or not showing emotions, communicating. I was used to understand them, not much, but for necessaries. For example, to take something in pharmacy or to order meal in restaurant. And out of all options that were available in that moment, Katowice was the best when it comes to accepted, because I needed to find like accepted courses in Montenegro and in Poland. So in summary, it was the best option for me in the end. Hard question to compare Warsaw and Katowice. I would say that faculty in Katowice was much, much more strict. Even professors, maybe it was because I had more quantitative courses over like courses for management and business. Also, additional to those courses that I needed to pass for exchange, like pass and then transfer them in Montenegro, I had some additional courses that I needed to take because of number of ACTs. It's big difference between us and them. Here, usually course has 6 or more credits. To them, 2 or 3 credits. So I needed to double.
Okay.
Yeah, it was something that I didn't know before. And in Katowice, I would say that I spend less time with international students, more time with Polish students. My courses were like that. And I had that, can I say, luck to be surrounded by Spanish people. And it's famous for them that they like to be only surrounded by their speaker. They are not that much open for foreigners, especially if you don't speak Spanish language. In Katowice, it was more challenging to me. In summary, yeah.
Okay, that's interesting. Like, not that it was harder. I guess it's variety. Like, just like from faculty to faculty, I guess the how hard the course is going to differentiate. Doesn't It's not something that it's predictable, but the way that you said it, like it's totally different style of teaching and everything.
Exactly, totally
I
different.
want to touch upon that because it's the same country. You would think that it's practically the same on the faculty in Katowice. So where are the differences? What are the key differences?
First of all, in Katowice it's public university, if I don't make mistake, and in Warsaw it is private. But I felt more welcomed in Katowice in first day because like vice dean, dean and everyone were there in the office when I came, because when you come you need to sign some contracts like that you're in country, that you're accepting scholarships, something about medical issues and all those things. And I would say that they were more welcoming. Also, they put much more, let's say, attention to bring foreign students together, to integrate them between Polish. In Warsaw, they didn't do that. They did that in the first week through some parties and afternoon activities. And then it was like, okay, now you know all places you can get by yourself. And in Katowice, it was more, especially if we talk about some, let's say, holidays or even religion holidays. Like for Christmas, they would organize the whole event in the faculty so you can visit and communicate with people. It is the same country, and like all those faculties, they want to be like one from Warsaw because they're considered to be the best. So they're always trying to upgrade. And in Katowice, I would say that they prefer traditional way of way that is similar to us, that traditional way of studying where professor is someone who gives you a lesson. You have some tasks and later you're finishing your obligations. But yeah, they also prefer using electronic devices over paper and pen. I don't know why they like that.
Okay, that's very interesting for me to hear, because from coming into the conversation, I was like, oh, this is going to be practically the same. So yeah, do we have to touch upon that any further? That was my way of thinking before the conversation. Now I'm really intrigued that that is the case. But you mentioned that they organized some activities during the first week, and then it was just like, okay, you're
it was in Warsaw.
own.
Like during the first week, during the day, we had some events, for example, exploring city or going to try traditional food. I came there in February, so the weather was a big issue. We needed like to postpone a lot of activities for afternoon. And then in the night, we had organized parties, like in the club, there were only students. And after first week, they just moved to academic staff and going to lectures, and it was all. If they organize something, it would be in the main building, but like you don't get invitation for that. You don't know it's happening. If you're coming because you're going from one class to other class, you get it. In Katowice, the whole time they were active on their social media. They were posting something. They're trying to organize. For example, in the spring semester, they always organize some kind of marathon, like run, so they can integrate sport. or they organize something for holiday. They will serve Polish like food, and they invite you to represent your country. They organize international dinner. Now, when I go back in the past, I remember that I was like, not obligatory, but it was for you to prepare something and to make some PowerPoint presentation of your country, like to represent it to other people. They call it global village or something like that. Maybe it wasn't international, it was probably global.
Yeah, I think that's a common tactic.
Yeah,
I'd
yeah.
say pretty much like any student exchange program tends to gravitate towards those kind of events. But so you said Warsaw was the one where where events weren't not being organized throughout your stay, and the Katowice was the one.
Yes. Yeah.
So I guess just give me like, what do you prefer? Do you prefer like the way that it was handled in Warsaw? Like, okay, here's here's the first week of activities. We'll do this, then you're on your own, or do you prefer like that sort of the one in Katowice?
In Warsaw, I prefer the first way because I lived in dormitory on the floor where only international students were. So instantly we connected, and then we just start organizing activities by ourselves. But in Katowice, I lived by my own. Like, I didn't have roommate or anyone. So I like that style because it was a good way for me to interact with other people and to meet someone who is new to me. It depends. If I had company in Katowice, I would probably still be amazed by Warsaw one. But I would say if you live in dormitory, it's easier for you to find people and to connect with them. If you live in shared flat, or for example, it's been Katowice, a private dorm where you have only room for yourself, then it's much better if faculty is organizing something.
Like, okay, so you had the opportunity to experience the Polish culture.
Yeah.
Pretty
long and detailed one.
Okay, so you said that you were mostly around the crowds of international students in Warsaw. Can someone who is mostly mingling around the crowds of other international students truly experience the culture of a place where he's staying at for those 3 months? Or do you really have to mingle with Polish people?
I think that if we talk about Poland, then definitely you need to spend more time with them. Because I wouldn't say that they're cold. They're not that good speaker of English, so they're a little bit ashamed and like scared to speak English. Because they always say, oh, we have that Slavic accent. And then like, I'm from Montenegro, I also have that Slavic accent when I'm speaking, but I don't mind it. It's like something that is natural to me. I cannot change it.
Of course.
So I would say that in Warsaw, it was a great opportunity to see their lifestyle, to integrate with international people, to go to as many places as possible. Of course, like for them, Warsaw is the central life in whole Poland. But in Katowice, I was able to make friends with Polish. And to get in their culture more, also to start understanding language better, because I'm surrounded by them, I'm listening to their conversations. And when I used to live in Warsaw, I was hearing from Arabic to Spanish, every possible language in dormitory.
So it's not possible unless you mingle with the crowds.
I would say for Poland, not that.
Do you think that's the case for just Poland, or do you think like it is something you should gravitate towards?
Maybe it's a case for countries that are in East or Central Europe. But if you talk about West, especially if you talk about some warm cultures, Portugal or Spain, I think that you can easily feel their culture because they won't adapt to you. You need to adapt to them. And Poland, they're like trying to be at the same time very polite to you, but I would say that they miss that culture that we have, like small talks and just interrogating with people. They're a little bit reserved, but I think the language is the main problem. One of the first situation that I had in Poland, when you go on Erasmus, you need to open bank account in that country so you can receive your scholarship. I went to the first bank in the Centrum. For me, it was like reasonable. I will go to the not central bank, but like bank that is in center of city. And someone must speak English. I visited 2 or 3 banks. No one spoke English.
I guess that's part of a Slavic experience.
Yeah, I was like, okay, let's go. Google Translate. Hi, can I open my bank account here?
Okay. So how would you say, so that's like 2 exchanges in Poland,
Yeah.
how would you say it impacted your personal growth in any manner of speaking, like both in like mentally or just like the way that you perceive things on universities? And
I was saying, so like I'm getting chills now. In so many ways, I would say. When I returned home, my parents told me that I'm not same as I was when I left. I think that during those exchanges, especially when you go by your own, because I was the only one from Montenegro, you're just on yourself. You depend on yourself, and you need to find way to function. It's not only about academic stuff like signing some papers, going to lectures, passing exams. It's also about paying your rent, paying your bills, finding transport from one place to other, paying for your grocery list and everything. I would say that both of them changed me a lot. The first one changed me in a way to start understanding that we are not same, and that I need to think about background of some people. Like if I have some judgment in my head, everyone has some kind of stereotype judgment in your head. You need to find way to fight that. But I should think about background, if these people had opportunity to travel, to see my culture, that we are not the same. We don't even show emotions and thinking in the same way. And the other exchange, it changed me in a way of better understanding myself and where should I be, what should I do, and like what do I think about, like, because I had more time to be concentrated on myself. I was, as I mentioned, I had less company in Katowice, and for me exams there were harder, so I needed to put much more effort in actually studying.
so student exchange programs in general is something that you recommend both for experience and personal growth.
Exactly, always, always, and always. Especially Poland, because I had a connection with them. Like I had opportunity to be there. I had amazing experience. I would say that it's like highlight of my life in 20s so far. I would recommend that. I know that a lot of people are scared when it comes to going abroad. You're leaving your comfort zone. There's so many things that you need to go through. Also, there is that financial side, how you're gonna make it work. But it's the system that exists for so long period of time, and so many students went through that system. And the advice that I received from my beloved ones was like, you're always just one ticket from home. If things doesn't work, there is way to come back and enjoy. But every time when I went, I cried when I needed to come back. I didn't want to come back. Because like you like life there, you connect with people, you're on your own. The freedom that you feel is on next level. And the whole academic background and academic experience is totally different. For the first time, you learn in English, not in Montenegrin or the language that is your native.
So being homesick is not an excuse. You're not going to be homesick after 3 months, you say?
Well, I would say that first 2 weeks are the most challenge, like the biggest challenge for you. I remember that for the first week, I didn't unpack my suitcase because in the morning I want to stay there forever, to have amazing life, to spend time with international people, to go from party to party, to pass all exams in first take, and then in the night I miss my family, I miss my home, my friends, and just want to buy a ticket for it. But like that first week is the most challengeable one. After that, everything flows. And I had amazing experience in Warsaw. I met people from all over the world. I spent a lot of time with them. I met people from Mexico, Macedonia. Okay, they are close to us, but we lived room next to each other. Russians, Lebanese, Jordan, Japan, Brazil. Like I can just go and go. And many of them had the opportunity to come here to visit my country. I was super happy about that. Also, I got invitation to go and to visit them. I think it's one of the best part of culture and academic exchange. Like after those exchanging experience, you have place to stay wherever you want, and you have to reason to visit those people and to spend time with them.
Yeah, I guess makes traveling post studies much easier.
It's good, and it's good when like you listen to some music and like, oh, I listen this with my friends. I have friends from this country, or you try some food and like, oh, this is good. We have something similar or not. I was always fighting with my friend from Lebanon because we always like fighting what is which food. He said, oh no, this is Arabic food. I'm like, no, it's Balkan food. We have our own way. So we had a lot of fight about those. And it's good when you hear two different kind of music and they're like translating words to you. I don't like the whole exchange program is one big opportunity for young people to go explore world, to meet new people, and especially to explore their own limits, like what are you capable of doing.
So, yeah, from what I can tell, it's something that you 100% and wholeheartedly recommend.
Absolutely. I would always recommend that.
What do you think that, what is the main, in your eyes and in your opinion, what is the main reason that people here don't gravitate towards student exchanges and tend to just like get 3 years in 3 or 4 years here, get it over with and just continue there?
I would say it's compatibility of courses here and there, because you cannot find all courses there, and you need to pass some when you're back, and you're like, oh, why would I go for 1 semester abroad, spend some money, some time, and when I return I need to pass those courses. But in the end, after you like look at everything, I think it's worth 1, 2 more courses when you're home or in September. I don't think it makes huge difference. And I know that people are scared about financial side, but someone did calculation. You have enough money. I had more than enough money for staying there. Of course, if you want some luxury life there, staying in penthouse, meeting out, it's impossible. But if you live life like here, staying in some flat or dormitory, if you use your bonuses in canteen, or if you're preparing meal by yourself, use public transport, then there is no problem. I didn't change my lifestyle here, and they were pretty basically same.
Okay, so you think those fears and just like
Yeah,
them not
fears,
looking the bigger
exactly,
picture is the main
I
issue.
think that we have enough promotion and enough different kind of universities and country that are offering to us. I even know people who came here for Erasmus exchange. There was one girl from Poland, and she was amazed because for her everything here was cheaper, and Slavic culture did really big impact on her, so she was able to adapt that. I know that she traveled through the whole Montenegro, and she had only the best words for that. And I'm glad that someone had that good experience in my country.
Yeah, so as you probably are familiar with, University of Montenegro opened its doors wide open for all the foreign students. And do you think we as an institute are ready to accept that amount of foreign students in our country?
I would say that we are ready. Maybe we just need more programs in English. That like programs and courses that are offered in English, because it's easier for them than just coming here, and it's easier with them to find then friends and connect. If they just come here and study with regular students, it's hard for them, especially because maybe they're not attending all courses at the same time. But if you have fully English program, as economics faculty now has, it's easier for them. They can share opinions, they can work in group, they can ask if something isn't clear to them. Even when you have that stress before exam, it's easier when you know that someone else has the same thing as you. So I would just say that our university, like on the level of the whole university, we need more English program. Not maybe English programs that are offered in a language that is not necessarily Montenegrin one.
Yeah, so from my previous, again, mentioning Almeida and my talk prior to your, she shared a lot of great experiences in Montenegro, but she also had some critiques regarding the way that things are handled inside of the classes. And I just want to get your opinion on that. She had a particular problem with the way that teachers and professors, to use proper etiquette like you did,
exactly.
Professors were kind of cold here. That was like her main thing that she nitpicked out of, like she nitpicked basically one bad thing out of the millions of great things she had experienced here. Do you think that there's anything else to nitpick before we can say, okay, student exchange program in Montenegro is just perfect now?
To be honest, I don't think. I would say that language barrier, I think that we have enough promotion and enough, like SN network, they're doing amazing job, and you always have something or somewhere where you can go and integrate with people. Maybe I would just add like more information for students that are coming that can be available online, especially when it comes to syllabus. I know that people usually have problem with finding syllabus because you need to send that for making learning agreement. So maybe that, like let's say administrative side of whole exchange. But if we talk about, I would say that we're very warm culture and like warm nation. We accept other nations very well, and we want to include in our lifestyle. Well, I'm from now I'm on the side of someone who is host. When I was in Poland, it was different. I was from the other side. But I would say that Montenegro is ready, our students are ready, and we should work more towards like, how to say, inviting them, coming here, attracting them here. Yeah. They're going to love Montenegro. I'm sure in that 100%.
Yeah, I guess the culture is, has the sort of childish curiosity towards like exchange, foreign people and foreign students in general. So I'm glad we got even the constructive criticism out of the way. I'm glad that you had the opportunity to share your experiences. At the end of this conversation, I just want to hear any cool anecdotes, anything cool that has happened. Just casually mention it before we wrap all these things.
Hard question, but first that came in my mind was that I was always accused that like all our Slavic cultures and nation, it's the same thing. And I was on the dinner with Macedonians and Slovenian guy, and we were eating, and the girl that is from Macedonia, she was like, can you please pass me lajceta? I was like, I don't understand. She was like, no, lajceta. And I was like, okay, let's go in English. It's too hard for me. She was like, oh, spoon. I was like, oh, kašika. And then Slovenian guy in the background, žlička. And I was like, see? Different countries at the same time. We consider us as the same, but we are different.
So I guess people will find a way to clash even in canteens.
Yeah, exactly. Even if we used to be the same country.
Okay, so I'm glad that we had this conversation today. I'm glad that you just arrived from in Montenegro and sat there to have this conversation with me, and I'm glad that you shared your experiences and gave valuable insight into what student exchange program truly is meant to be, both like a cultural exchange, both new experiences, unforgettable memories. From what I can tell from your smile, I can tell that was just something that you would 10 out of 10 repeat.
Okay. Yeah, thank you for inviting me and for making sure that I feel enough comfortable in this podcast. And what can I say? I love Montenegro, and I really support people to go explore, to study abroad, but to return in our homeland.
Okay, thank you once again, and be seeing you around.
Thank you, Dusan.